freehold land of more than 8,400 square feet.
Regular plot with a 15.2 wide frontage.
6+1 bedrooms and a huge living hall.
Large porch for 6 cars and this beautiful garden.
Let's admire this charming bungalow together in this episode of Huttons Landed Division's
Live Open House.
Welcome back to HLD's monthly live open house series. Today is the 1st of February and also the first weekend of the Lunar New Year. So we of course have specially chosen yet another exclusive listing to showcase to you, our loyal viewers and followers. Now today's listing is very unique because I think it's really quite, give you the hint already, right? This is now a very large, a detached bungalow plot, all right, occupying in Bukit Timah, by the way, occupying a very large land plot, more than 8,400 square feet, with 6+1 rooms, a very nice, beautiful garden, and a huge car porch like this that can park 6 or even more cars.
Yes, indeed. So this is actually one of the largest homes we have featured on our monthly series of the Live Open House. For those viewers who have been tuning in with us for the past 2 years, I think today we are actually graced with the presence of 3 of our very distinguished members from the District 10, right? To be able to come together to highlight some of these features that makes this bungalow a very attractive unit for home seekers in this area. So in addition to that, as usual, we are going to be very excited to showcase various enhancements that it can possibly do to this plot to cater to most of your family needs.
So Nidhi and I have featured 2 Bukit Timah houses in the live open house last year, and we have sold both of them, and we are proud to say that it was sold very quickly after the live open house. And today we're going to repeat the same thing again by showcasing the spacious interior of this detached befitting of a grand bungalow.
Absolutely. Just keeping aside the generous land size, the owners have maintained the property really well, and especially the property is surrounded by this lush, soothing greenery, which is why we have chosen to call this property the Veranda at Bukit Timah.
Most importantly is the attractive price tag. It will really entice a lot of value hunters out there who is looking for a big land size like this.
Are you ready to now explore this house with us? If you are, let's now start with the location. Yeah, so Sean, you're not a Bukit Timah person, right? You've always been staying in the northeast, but yet you are still very familiar of this location, right? Off 6th Avenue. Why?
Yes, indeed. I think location-wise actually brings back a lot of memories. I think commuting to and fro in the past when I was younger to this area, I think what's really sets this unit apart is the location, right? So it's just off 6th Avenue, right? But yet it is kind of fronting 2 major intersections between Bukit Timah and Holland.
That's right.
So just to recall, in the past, a lot of frequenting to nearby amenities, and this place has completely kind of transformed over the years.
That's right.
Not only the 6th Avenue,
correct.
Guthrie House, not to mention,
Yeah.
and my favorite cold storage of all time, I think
Jelita, right?
Yes.
These are the more familiar ones. I'm sure Bukit Timah residents will know, but now there's a lot of new developments. Of course, first thing we cannot fail to mention is that there's 2 MRT stations, right? On both sides of these major arteries, you have 6th Avenue MRT there. You also have Holland Village MRT. All this about 3 to 4 bus stops away. Right, and of course now we also have new amenities like now One Holland Village, right? It's a very now popular haunt. I think we frequent there very often as well. And of course you have new developments like this Park Suites, and also I think now Jelita Cold Storage is going to be redeveloped soon.
Yes.
So I think this place is also undergoing a bit of this transformation. Yeah.
So I think most of the people that are staying in this area tend to gravitate and kind of
They like to stay around here.
Yeah, still around this area.
Because within 10 minutes here, frankly, you also have schools.
Yes,
within
many
2
good
kilometers, all the famous schools here. You have your Nanyang, your Henry Park on one side, MGS, etc. So RGS, Raffles Girls School. So I think of course, you have the secondary schools and basically we're near the school belt. The good thing is we're not right in the middle. So you don't have to worry about whether you're staying on the Bukit Timah side or the Holland Road side. Yes, here basically turn left, turn right. Is equally convenient. And speaking about turning left and right, this house is actually very near to 6th Avenue. You don't hear the sound. You can see 6th Avenue just there, walking distance. First thing you notice, of course, is the junction where you can turn left or right into the 2 major roads. But it's also now within 3 to 4 minutes walk to the nearest bus stops. Yeah. So besides that, of course, Bukit Timah is also known for the greenery and nature. We're also very near the Greenleaf Park, and of course, there's park connectors down towards the end. You can also go to the Holland Plain, the park connector, and the linear park as well. So I think this place is really very good for basically lifestyle and explains why a lot of families have been staying here.
Not only families, so I think in fact most of their closest friends, all reside within the same area.
The Bukit Timah network. So within I think 10 minutes, you can go to reach out to your friends, do your daily necessities first, right? Your daily needs in a sense, and besides that, is also you can visit your friends, relatives, your parents. So that's why, because this house I think is going to attract a lot of residents firstly around this area, right? And of course, all those beyond Bukit Timah, you also will know how convenient this place is, like Sean, right, who's a non-resident of Bukit Timah, so to speak.
Yes, indeed.
Now, coming back to this house, what can we say about this? Now we're in front of this.
Yeah, so first and foremost, this family home has been with the family for almost 70 years, So we are really, truly excited to showcase this house, to understand why this house has endured and the kind of memories that the families have actually created.
Exactly. They were telling us owners that a lot of the neighbors, in fact, almost all the neighbors have already moved out, right? But they have chosen to stay put here. Of course, last time it was a single-story detached house, all right? And then most of these places are also large houses, but they've all been redeveloped. The family have, however, chosen, to stay put, and they've actually A&E the house as well, right? In the 1990s, from what they have now, so it becomes a very comfortable space, which we'll see in a while. But the main thing that they like is really where we're standing now, which is, I think, the privacy. First, we already talked about the convenience just now, but they like that. I think which part of Singapore do you get free parking? Firstly, privacy, free land like this. Right? You can take a look now. Easily, you can park 4 cars, 2 front, 2 back. We have actually tried even parking 3 cars in 1 row. So it's 3 times 2 is 6 parking lots just in front of you. Of course, you may not choose not to park outside here yourself, because later will show you there's a lot of lots inside, but it's good for guests when they come to visit. You don't have to find places, even go deep into a few more minutes of drive into the estate, because we're very close to the main road, and your friends, relatives, or your guests can just park here very easily.
Yes, indeed. Along this stretch where we are at, most of the houses actually, unfortunately, they have been subdivided into various smaller plots. So this is one of the very few exceptions that still retains its original, not only in terms of the size, but the majestic length of the unit itself.
Exactly. So you notice, like what Sean said, our 2 neighbors are also detached houses as well. So if you are bungalow seekers, I think the immediate environment is very important. So you probably, no offense, of course, to the terrace amenities owners, it's just that you'll prefer to have similar bungalow owners. And not only are they bungalow owners, they are actually more built up than the house that we have here. So one important reason is for them, they are quite happy. Of course, the 2 new houses have already been rebuilt already. But if you will choose to stay here, you'll be rest assured your neighbors are not going to be rebuilt, right? So back to the house, can you see now, of course, one of the main things about this very huge plot, 8441 square feet in particular, is the very regular plot. So you can see from the drone aerial shots they've taken, beautiful rectangle, and importantly is the wide frontage. This is 15.2 meters wide, right? 15.2 meters wide. So that this house, now you can't even see the interior, all right? Because with the depth, it actually segregates the house into 3 different parts. And we have not even entered to see the first part. We're still outside. Here. So for 15.2 meters, it really gives you, because we have buyers who come, many of them are actually GCB downsizers, and they were really surprised that the land is only, I use the word 8,004, because it feels much bigger than what it is, right?
What I really like is, even back in the past, the way they have situated the gate and the access way. And all these have been upgraded over the years, right?
Correct.
So the drainage has been covered up, and here will be a nice stroll along. You still have the kind of safety with the green buffer.
Exactly.
Right? But being situated right in the center, and this is easily more than 4 meters wide. Right? So these kind of grand openings, even for some of the other detached in this area, may not kind of benefit from this type of very wide kind of opening. So it makes it very easy for, especially staying in such a big detached house.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure during rush hours, especially during school
Yeah.
hours, you know, you're going to have a mad rush in and out.
Yeah.
So you can have more than 2 cars concurrently going in and out. I think this is something that, you know, a lot of detached owners are actually seeking out,
Exactly.
especially in Bukit Timah.
Exactly. Yeah. Whether we are moving out from let's say semi or terrace or even downsizing, I think this accessibility, waiting first before the traffic before you turn up is important. Sean mentioned one important point which is very relevant recently, right? Because of the very heavy downpour, I think a lot of parts of Singapore have like experienced flooding, ponding, etc. We are standing now what used to be actually a very large canal that has now been covered up. So this also means in terms of basically water outlet, PUB has ensured that here, basically like what the owners have done just last month, right? In January, there's a lot of heavy rain, etc. Houses here, not just our owners here, have not experienced any risk, right? In terms of rising water levels and of course flooding. Right? Shall we now take a look at the inside? Okay, we're quite excited. I can still remember Sean, the first time that we were asked to visit the owner and we enter. First time, you know, we're here, we were trying to reverse park inside, but here we don't need to because we can literally do a 3-point turn. All right, just head in because now you can see 15.2 outside because it's now shielded by the gate. Once you enter, you can really feel the expansiveness of the whole place.
Yeah, it takes many steps. So
yes.
very. So I think really one of the main characteristics, I mean, every detached house is different. So you have an assortment of sizes, which will really dictate, you know, how well, you know, you can do your space planning and how you really can curate it to your family's needs.
Exactly.
So what's really unique about detached homes, you know, is really about the footprint of the house.
Right.
I think we have shared this several times in the past few episodes. So detached being only able to fulfill a 50% footprint of the house gives you a lot of options.
Exactly.
More so with a house with this kind of land size.
Exactly. So at 8,004, you just divide by 2, you have 4,200 square feet of basically open space, right? Open space, and now you can see it, which is very, very evident. And for real bungalow owners, they're looking for large bungalows, for example, because bungalows now, later we will share, we have basically the compact ones, medium size. We actually position this as a large size. And in the past, this is really how a grand bungalow should feel like, because you want to have a lot of space, right? Of course, build-up area is something that you can build on, but land size is not something that you can increase.
Indeed.
So like what Sean said, now we are seeing now, this is part of the 4,000 plus data, of course we'll show the side as well, but this is now, can you see now, right? There's a lot of space, and owners have done, not keeping basically it bare. Obviously for parking now is very easy, later we'll show the shelter, is that the left and right side now is all adorned, can you see, with a lot of greenery here as well. Because like we said, it's a veranda. Actually, we got this concept from the owner, you know, because last time there were a lot more trees from the grandparents to the parents and the family as well. I think they really like the idea of nature.
Yes.
Within sight, within touch. That's quite important, and not smell as well, because there's a lot of flowers here in a sense. So even if it's a very big space, I think they have chosen to adorn this and soften this with a lot of all this greenery and landscaping to give it a very nice touch.
I think oftentimes a lot of new homes, we are very disconnected nowadays with the outdoors. You know, we are always kept indoors.
Yes.
So what a detached can really bring, especially for those who are looking to upgrade, you know, with this type of expansiveness, gardenscaping and all this, just simply for kids and even pets to roam around. This is something that is
I'm just
very
thinking,
hard.
if you don't have 6 cars, of course, a lot of now upgraders, they have more cars, 2, 3, or car collectors. But if you don't have so many cars, you know, just park here. Can you see now? You can park 3 very comfortably. You have so much space in front, right? So much space in front. You'll be tempted, maybe do a pool, water feature, etc. You only need 3 to 4 parking lots, right? So talking about basically the space, the owners very cleverly, I think this is really quite unique and very charming, and this is how I think bungalows should be like. There are very many layers, right? So just now was basically exposed, open to the sky, to a lot more natural light to come in. Speaking of which, this house faces northeast, right? Northeast. Although a detached always is exposed to 4 sides, right? But it's important that your frontage and basically the sides, you can see down the sun, okay, where's basically coming from. Behind this is being shielded from the neighbor. That side, basically the abundance of morning sun. Now it's a bit cloudy, but should you come here in the morning, right, instead of now 2 p.m. or 7, this whole part is basically flush with morning sun, so which is beautiful. And then you can still park your car now. This is fully sheltered, right? And then you can still exit, and then before you go into the walkway inside, right? So are we now ready to take a look at the second part of the real house, so to speak? From now, I think you can't even see the house.
We're still at the car porch.
We're still only at the car porch. This will be about the size of maybe 2 semi-Ds already in a sense. You know, we haven't stepped in yet. So with this, very quickly, I and Edie will show what is behind basically this wall. All right, let's take a look.
let's talk about this spacious house and the aesthetics at the same
we're very
time.
excited, right? Just now we're just talking, we have all been talking just in front of the wall, what is actually behind this wall. But I think Nidhi, this wall is something that caught your attention when you first came, right?
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
definitely have to talk about this wall because it's such a nice aesthetic piece of wall. It is
Yeah.
actually a glass brick wall,
Yeah.
which creates a really nice privacy divider, but at the same time,
yes.
brings in all the light into the
Exactly.
into what's behind,
Yeah.
which
I like
everyone's
the
curious
gap that
to
they
see.
left here, you know. It's so deliberate that you can get a glimpse of the house. Okay, I'm not sure whether the camera can catch this. So you come here, you get a glimpse of the house, but you don't get to see the full thing. And when you're inside later,
Right.
you can't see the outside at all. And yet light and all this, can see all this little, they put the vases here, and also the wind. Not just on this part, but even above the pillar here as well. So that, I
on
think
top.
that's quite smart. It's really one of the best so-called simple but structurally sound and very functional
Yeah, and even if you
shelters.
retain,
Yeah.
there is so much more
Yeah.
that you can do with the space
Exactly,
behind, which
exactly.
we're all excited to
Yeah.
show you. But
Yeah.
to get to that space, we
Yes,
have to...
nothing beats this, right? This is we call this what? The walkway to the veranda.
Veranda, yes. So
have
this
you
is-
seen a house with such a walkway?
No,
Yeah.
actually never.
Very, very nice. I think it's a very nice feeling before you walk home. You are mentally, physically reminded you have left your car, left your
Right.
home, left everything. You're working your daily hustle and bustle, whatever.
That's
behind.
so true. That's such a
This
nicely
is
put thought.
you know, like a transition to the right peaceful mindset, etc.
And also
right?
the
Yeah.
way it's done, you know, when you walk into this space, there is so much of lush greenery.
Yes.
You know, there's plants, there's trees, there's
Very
flowers.
well manicured, very well
and
manicured.
the wind.
You come here, take a look. You know, recently, last month it has been raining really heavily. So a lot of our clients' gardens, they were really damaged, right, from the basically
Right.
water damage, etc.
Yeah.
But wow, look at how lush it is. And this open space is what I think all bungalows should have. Very, very
Absolutely.
comfortable. And they also done this bonsai plants as well, right, with all the landscaping.
Yeah.
Very
nice
meticulously.
landscaping that is
Yeah.
being done here. Even if you put like a koi pond
Yeah,
here
yeah,
and
exactly.
make this into a courtyard, I think that would be a very, very beautiful addition without doing much.
Correct. So Nidhi has a very good point now, because in this house tour, we're going to start to show you, I think, 3 different enhancement plans, all right? Starting, of course, with just renovation. You can choose to just renovate. You keep the structure, of course, we're going to show you
Right.
later. You can also choose to A&A, addition, alteration, all right? What can you do to reconfigure some of the space inside by adding less than 50%? In fact, we're only just adding a balcony, for instance.
Yes.
And last but not least, we're going to add even a floor. Later, we're going to show you, right? So do follow throughout, because on the screen, you start to see the concepts
Right.
that we work with our architects and our IDs as well, right? To give, I think, regardless of what kind of buyer profile,
Yes,
family
it
profile
kinda
that you are.
suits.
Because since we've started marketing just for a few days, and even our so-called current network of buyers already, there's so many types. Some just
Given
want
up,
to keep it
you know,
right. There's 6
feedback.
plus 1 rooms.
That's
We have
true.
now more than 4,000 square feet. They say Nidhi really is enough. They don't need to do much, but some they want to enhance further. They like the location, like the plot, but they want to enhance further.
That's true.
Right?
Which brings
So-
me to a very interesting point,
yes.
because this particular piece of land is very, very rectangular.
Yes.
There are no odd corners,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
cutting in through at any point
Yeah.
in time, which makes it a very good,
Very easy.
functional
It's like Lego.
space
I
to
say
work
Lego. You
with.
can actually add the space.
true.
Before we got to the architect, we're just taking the floor plan, and we can even just measure using just simple ruler how you want to add things here and there, because that's how regular it is. You know how regular.
True.
So back to this plot where the garden where Nidhi has said. So you can see now on the screen, right? In our A&A proposal, we actually choose to actually put a pond, all right, a water feature. This can have flowing water, cascading waterfall, etc. You can also do a pool as well. The
That's
good thing
true.
is it's so big, you can choose to, because a lot of times when you can only have one either of the
That's
other.
true, yes.
So you can actually have both. You can have the water feature or the pool, all right, and yet still have the garden, whether you want to put this in front of you or at the back. We have chosen in this diagram here on our proposal to have the garden still in front, then you can step into the pool or the pond here. all right?
Definitely. You know, this is where
yes.
my mornings and evenings are going to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, exactly. Then just take a stroll, etc. Right?
Yes,
So that's, I
absolutely.
think, what a bungalow should have. Now, on the side, just now we're talking about, Sean and I mentioned, can you see we have neighbors here, right? So one good thing is for many, many years, many decades, we've just chosen to keep a simple fence here. That means that even though we are close to neighbors, they also
Right.
have their own greenery as well, right? So very clear cut in terms of demarcation. And you can see now the stark difference and the kind of space that we have on the sidewalk on this side, right? The side so-called patio on this side. So it's not your typical 2 meters. When you have a space like this of more than 3 meters, it becomes a lot more functional.
For sure.
Right? will
You
choose
can
to
just,
walk
you
on
know,
it. Yeah.
use that space, because later
Yeah,
we will
later
talk
we'll
about how
show
all
you.
the
Yeah,
space
very
can be
nice
utilized. But
patio
at the
there.
same time, you know, it gives you this feeling of spaciousness
yes.
that you always want to
Yeah.
have when we talk about detached houses. You know,
Exactly,
that grand
exactly.
nest that we talk about, it always comes with like, you know, having that
Exactly.
detached feeling, the
Yes,
space
yeah, because this
around
owner,
it.
the family, they used to own just one single story detached. So when they rebuilt this themselves, they designed, all right, painstakingly and with a lot of personal touches. And leaving open space like this is really one of the key
That is
so-called
true.
requirements. And I'm sure a lot of bungalow seekers out there will appreciate the space that we have. All right.
Totally agree.
So let's now take a closer look on the other side. One good thing about this is every side of the sidewalks or the side, what we call this setback, they are not wasted at all, right? For example, here, if you've seen all the greenery there, I think this is really one. They've added some modern touch as well.
Yes.
So this is a living, live green wall. All these are live plants in a sense, not the artificial ones that you see. So you can tell those who have owned before. Not easy to keep, right, to maintain. But
That's
they've done
true.
this variety of herbs, plants to adorn. I think strategically facing the entrance, right? Facing
Yep,
entrance. So
right
when
here.
you walk out from here, this is the first thing that you see, right? Part of the modernization, by the way, is also to choose to basically put gravels. So they have actually chosen to remove some of the plants and made this into
Yeah.
more like a concrete landscape that
Yeah,
leads
which
to
is actually
later
really
another
nice as
pot
well
of
because
plants.
it gives you that distinction between the green and the
Yeah.
concrete, which brings up, I think, the aesthetic looks of the house.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right,
at the same time, I
exactly.
think it's really good if you walk on this barefoot.
Yeah, it's true. Good for exercise as well, right? So
That's
later
true.
we'll bring you to that part, but let's now enter the house. Can you start to imagine how the inside is like? Okay, there were some in the teaser videos. You can see actually inside is very, very spacious
In
as well.
fact, the size
Right?
itself, look at the door.
It's a
quite,
double, yeah, we call this the
yes.
chairman doors, right? Very big. And once you open in, you can come in and see.
Wow.
Look at the space, right? Look at the space. Very, very decent. One look, just one look, you can feel the connectivity of basically the space. And this is what the family wants. They want to, remember I said there's three parts. Building, there's front, middle, and then the building. The interior building is also three parts, right? And
Right,
every part is
yeah.
a square. It's kind of like a
Absolutely.
geometrical kind of intention for them to have squarey space on every part. So you have one part here, one
This-
part there. That's
that's
basically like a
true.
landing walkway only, right? Before you reach the dining.
dining area.
Yeah? And every part is a square if you look at the floor plan now, right? In a sense.
And
So
you're
what-
absolutely right. This, you know, this brings this multi-generational families
Yes,
together
yeah,
because
yeah.
you have distinct spaces, but at the same time, you have
I really
spaces
like-
that kind
yeah.
of brings you together.
Exactly. They have, you can see now they have adorned the place with a lot of their personal collections. You too can do the same. Of course, all this will be removed. Those furniture collectors are
Oh, wow.
collectors.
The wind.
Lots of space, yes. Now you remind me. Now we're at 2+ in a hot Saturday afternoon, but you still get that. That's basically advantage of a detached, right? You get a lot of natural light. So there's a
Yes.
lot of wall space here. You can choose to put different sets of furniture if you want to create a relay out any way that you want it, all right? They also have sitting places like this. Can you see? These little niches that they have chosen to create is very deliberate so that you can choose to rest here. This is almost like a day bed. You can sit here,
That's true.
take a nap, drink. You can still see your family members who are out there. You can still see the garden, you can see the dining.
In fact, when I
etc.
came in, I was just imagining, you know, the first
Yeah.
thought that came
Yes.
to me was that how, if you have like a huge gathering,
Yes, correct.
you would choose that place to have like some
Everyone
people
will be
sitting
fighting for
here.
which part. Yeah. But
That's
yet,
true.
you have the space. You can see each other. You can mingle. You can talk.
Yes.
But yet you have that physical space.
And you know,
Yeah.
the width itself, because it's so grand,
Yeah,
it gives you
15
that
meters,
spaciousness
correct.
and workability with how you want
Exactly.
to position things,
Yeah.
which we shall be
Yeah,
sharing shortly.
exactly.
But let's go
Yeah.
ahead and see the
So
house as
this
it is
part
at
I
this
really
point in
like
time.
because unlike most houses, the Longish houses, right, it's basically just walls and
yes,
sliding doors.
correct.
This you can tell is very, very deliberate. They kept the middle part of this almost like a physical reminder for you know this is basically the family hall, and then that side will be another area where you start to go for your dining.
That's true.
So here just now we caught a glimpse already. You can
And
see.
they've done a really good
Yeah.
job by opening up the spaces. So there's like 2 openings in the front, there are 2
Yes.
openings here. There's another opening by this side, you know, which
Correct.
makes the house very,
So
very
you've seen the
breezy.
greenery. So just now was like I call it a professional garden maintained by gardeners, etc. You start to see here. That's where the owners start to do their own personal touch, right? That means these are all the herbs and plants that they grow themselves. You can see some papaya trees at the back. You can likewise do the same. We have a lot of bungalow owners now. One reason actually they don't need a lot of space, right? They
That's
don't need
true.
a lot of rooms. They already
Yes.
have enough. What they want is outdoor space
Yes,
to pursue their
absolutely.
hobbies, whether they are already retired or basically active aging, right? So they want to just have their hands in doing their own spices,
true.
etc.
Yes.
And you can tell we are now just probably using half of the second part of the back.
Yeah, you still
there's
have so much
a
space
lot of
left
space
on the-
for you to do that.
on the behind
Alright?
part.
Understand.
Yeah.
Then on the other side is just now, Nidhi, you were saying the patio. right?
Yes. So this is decked up, as you can see. So I believe they were using the space, you know, as
Yeah, you can have some
a
alfresco,
place where you can have a
dining, breakfast. I like the little shelter here already, right?
That is
A few
true.
steps here. And I like that this part is also sheltered. If it rains or something, you can still come up here. So there's a little divider before you go in.
Yeah,
in a
I
sense.
like how they've done the utilization
Yes.
of the spaces. You
Yes.
know, there's a little touch of greens.
Yes,
But
correct.
this part they've kept it empty, so they
Yeah.
can actually just sit here and enjoy
Yeah.
the breeze and
Yes,
just
exactly.
chit chat.
Exactly. So now remember we talked about the A&A plan and the construction plan. Now firstly, if you're going to reconstruct, if you look at the plan again, obviously the house is going to go up the third floor. This space will be ideal for you to install a lift. All right, install the lift without basically harming I think the structural integrity of the house is almost like basically on the outside and then it goes all the way up. You can see from the floor plan here, which is very strategic, so to speak, right? So it's not usually a lot of house lifts you can see when you're in the living hall.
That's true.
Something that a lot of owners don't really like. So this is now tucked at the corner. So even
And
when
that
you're
takes away
exiting
from
clients-
that, you know, spaciousness
Yeah,
that
it's
you want to
true.
have
It's
when
true.
when you enter. You don't want to see the lift in your face.
exactly. Yeah,
That's
so
true.
it's just a one side. Of course, that corner is another place it can do as well. So feel free to talk to your architect or even the architect, our architect partner, right, for us to discuss the plans. Now back to this another third squarish part.
That's
Sorry,
true. The space doesn't seem to end.
Yeah, we were told by a lot of bungalow owners. We learned this over the years. You know, in a bungalow, in a landed, your dining must be a round dining table. If it's a rectangular one, means you don't have enough space, right? So this is a full round ones. Now you can see basically there are 8 seats, but you can put a 10 seat. You can even
Yes.
put a 12-seater if you want to.
That's true.
Behind us now, there's a nice shelf containing, I think, the owner's collections of crystals and glassware. Over the years, you can likewise use this for your artwork, for your family photos and all this. And there's another wall there as well.
And I think I really like that cultural touch that they have.
That stained glass, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's beautiful. I think it lets in the light with a bit of so-called colors in a sense.
That's true.
Right? Now, remember we said there are 6+1 rooms. Maybe you can start showing the first one. Now, this room will be useful for families with elderly, all right? Or you just want to have one spare room on the first floor as a multi-purpose, like a study,
That's
reading
true.
room,
Yeah, or
maybe
maybe,
with a
you know,
children's room as well.
parents
you
come and stay
yeah,
with
you can
you.
take a look.
Yes.
Yeah, like what the owner is doing now. The elderly mom is staying here. And the room is, can you see, spacious enough and with enough space, all right? So frankly, most of the time the helper is staying here if she needs help in a sense. Wardrobes already built in. Importantly, I think for any elderly or actually anyone, right? You would like
You
to
have
wake
to have
up to have a lot of natural light coming in.
True.
That's very bright. The
Yeah.
same plants that you saw that were personally planted is what greets the owner when she wakes up, right? The owner's mom, when she wakes up, she is reminded of the fruits of her labor here.
And
In
I
a sense,
noticed
yeah.
there's just one light here, and
Yes.
still it's actually
It's still
pretty
very, very
well
bright.
lit.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
You know,
Right.
it feels nice and pleasant
Correct.
when you step into this room.
With a room, it's important to have a bathroom. So we have here, all right, a very cozy bathroom. You can see these are all the tiles that we use. Obviously, this is not a new house, and we really expect for buyers to want to renovate and retouch up to the way that you want it. Nothing wrong with it. But important is, you know, if you buy landed houses, especially the big ones, a lot of buyers are already prepared to do that. The key thing is the layout, and the
That's
layout,
true.
this is just outside here. All right, and of course in the renovation plan, you can see from here, we have actually quoted the cost and a lot of ideas already that can simply basically with new coat of paint, changing of some of the
Yes.
fittings, etc. The house looks completely different because
That's
of the
true.
very
And
efficient
I do
layout.
have to say that even with the renovation aspect put together, the house
Yes.
is pretty well maintained.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see
Excellent, yes.
the
Really,
floor
really
is really
excellent.
nicely
Yes,
maintained, the walls and everything. When you come in, you know, you still have that charm.
Yes.
You don't look at it as a house that has been just run down and things like that.
Exactly, right.
With some of the old detached houses.
Correct,
So the
correct.
owners have actually put in a lot of love, I would say,
True.
into the house.
Yeah, with the grandeur, right? It's grand, right? But it doesn't come with some of the very cold opulence. They feel, this feels like a, you know, like a building per se. This
Right.
feels like a home. It still
That's
feels like a
true.
home.
Absolutely.
You come, you notice that the space is an advantage. It's not a disadvantage because it interacts with basically the immediate environment around us. And like what Nidhi said, has a very nice homely touch to it, right? In a sense. Okay, so now we have gone through one part, two part. Now it's the third part. And again, look at the floor plan. It is really another square. All right?
That's true,
What's
yes.
behind this square?
So this is the kitchen. I would say very grand.
Yes,
because
yes.
this is just one part of the kitchen. We haven't seen the other part of the kitchen.
Exactly.
You know?
So very rare do you find, by the way, you notice there's another breakfast table here. It is big enough. Of course, some you want to do island, a dining top or a kitchen top here for
Yeah, you
food
could turn it
preparation,
into a-
etc. I like, even though this is not new, but you can see the owner's choice of aesthetics, right? Very country style, very,
Yes.
I think, this is very old school, but it's a very homely and very warm touch to it.
Charming at the same time.
All these are obviously, as I said, like the house itself, the carpentry, all these are all chosen by the owners. So you can see that even the tabletops, all these are still
Right.
very good condition
True.
after more than almost 30 years of staying here. All right. Again, with the space, you can redo the way you want it. You can refer again to the renovation plans. There's some ideas on how the new kitchen can look like in a sense.
Absolutely.
Right? But
You
I
can
think
open up
having
the
a
space
square-
in front, and this area
Yeah.
could actually embody the wet
Exactly,
kitchen and a
exactly.
European style island kitchen.
Sure.
So that opens up the space to make it more modern at the same time.
Right. So of course, this is just one part. Again, there's behind me. Let me just show you. This is now a very useful, interesting helper's room. Right. It's pretty spacious. There's a wardrobe space. There's on one side. We rarely see helper's room like that, where basically the wardrobe is actually on one side, and then this is the sleeping area. Again, high enough for you to do a double deck. A lot of windows and light as well. Right. But a better way to do this later, we'll explain to you how we can make this space even better.
Yeah.
Because right now we can see they have actually a wet kitchen here. All right, so to do heavier cooking, you can see even demarcated by different color floor tiles. Right, they have a very, very sizable, right, L-shaped wet kitchen here. There's also there's a lot of storage you can see on this side, making use of the space. And then there's a bathroom
Bathroom right here.
Right, there's a bathroom on this side. So what we intend to do actually in the proposal, of course, this has served the family very well for the past many decades. But another way to actually make this space more open up and more efficient, if you look at, again, the A&A and reconstruction plan, on first floor, you can actually choose to break down this wall such that this part, the dining area, and this part, they actually fuse together. Right? And then on the right side of the house is where you basically, since you have the granny's room there, the helper's room and the helper's
room and the helper's
will all
bathroom.
be there. So everything is aligned very nicely to the right side of the house. This wall as well can be knocked down and then to basically fuse together with the living. Whether
And I
you want
love
to have
the
a traditional kitchen. Yeah, that's a pity. Right? Everything we propose, that means saying goodbye to all this. But then again, a new buyer may
Of course,
add your
yeah.
own personal touch
Add
to
the
it
personal,
in a sense,
yes,
right? So
completely.
what's behind this, we
But
can
the good
take
thing
a
is
look.
there's a lot of space to work around
Yes,
and do that
correct.
kind of recon renovation.
So you notice there's again 2 doors. There's always a lot of doors. You can walk out from here. But if you go out from the main back door, you come out here. Remember we said that the owners deliberately kept a lot of space, right, left, and even the back as well.
Yes.
Even the back as well. You can see now this is more
You
than
can still
almost 4
push
meters.
back.
Right,
Yes.
4 meters, very comfortable. This is where they do their laundry. The west sun comes from the back, this angle. So
Yeah.
you can see now this is a fixture fixed for doing your laundry. Perfect place to get your laundry done, air dried.
That's
in a
true.
sense, right? So
Yes.
the helpers, if you have 2, family size, maybe of a house of this size, maybe you have 2 helpers. The helpers can also have a lot of space, right?
That's
to
true.
do
And even
this,
if you want to
do
shift the
storage as
greens
well.
to this side, you know, you'll still have a lot of space in the
Yes,
front
yes,
to do
yes.
other things like, you know, have a pool or koi point and things like that.
Yeah. What the owner laments, the only thing about greenery is that, can you see this flower planter area, right? The planter area. If they could have more time, or actually they try, is you can actually choose to grow more plants or trees here.
Yes, I saw some papaya trees by the site.
Either
so-
of course, for aesthetic purpose, but also I think it also helps to create additional barrier. Not that it is,
Yeah.
because now nothing to hide. You can see that this is the back of another house. You notice they are set back quite a lot. That
Yeah.
neighbor there, the reason why it's so windy is because there is a permanent gap. Right, between the
right.
2 houses at the back. So there's always been coming from there. Again, new houses really, so there's no risk of
That's
rebuilding
true.
whatsoever.
Yes.
Right, in a sense. So how do you find so-called first floor so far? Which is your favorite part? What is yours, Nidhi? Maybe we can share and see whether the viewers agree with you.
I absolutely love the entrance of the house
Yes,
because
okay.
it's very, very inviting.
Yes.
You know, you come into the house, you feel light, you feel breeze, you feel warmth at the same time.
Yes.
And you feel the grandeur and the spaciousness. I think that's very, very important when you walk into a detached house.
Yes, yeah.
So I would say
mine
that
is
is
quite
my
linked to
favorite.
yours. It's still basically the walkway to the veranda, the pathway. Yeah, because I mean we have obviously sold, marketed many houses, right?
Right.
So it's very rare. I think even larger houses, you really don't have this like private walkway that actually leads you. That connects your car porch and also your living area. So I think
That's so true.
That's really something very unique, and it has enchanted me since the first day I come to visit
Which
this
is why
house.
we called it the Veranda in Bukit Timah.
Exactly. Right. So this is basically the first floor. How about the second floor? Remember, we only have seen 1 room here, 1+1. We still have actually 5 rooms upstairs.
That's
With
true.
this, we shall hand over to Sean and Marissa to show us what is in store on level 2. Sean and Marissa, please.
right? So thanks to Willie and Nidhi for showcasing a really majestic level 1. So now coming to level 2, this actually reveals a more intimate setting, right? So for this house, it was built around 1991. You know, they've been staying here for many, many decades, and their envision that, during that period was to create really a family home. So a lot of the elements, I think Marissa would agree, you know, firstly being a detached, the expansiveness of the space allows you to draw in, with good design, a lot of the elements from nature. So being lighting and also natural ventilation. So where we are right now, right in the centerfold of level 2, is this very nicely curated kind of living area space. So that actually in the past, imagine almost of the residents here will be occupying on this level itself. So Marissa, tell us more about this space.
Okay, so as we come up, you can see the leaves are actually rustling there. You know, the airflow in this house is really good, with a lot of windows on both sides of the house. So the recess area from one end to the other, it's about 9 meters. So areas like this, you know, this is the old style of, you know, doing up the house. They have
Kind of provision for a little bit of a recess, so as to, you know, kind of break away from what we are so used to nowadays.
Correct.
Something that is a boxed up area.
Yeah.
So in fact, a lot of transformation or rather alternatives for different family sizes will be very suitable, because again, as it is being a 2-story, Sita will review more of the rear of this level, can already suit for most family needs. In fact, on this level itself, we have a total of 4 bedrooms, and this is only level 2. Okay, so maybe let's take a look through, first towards the rear of the house. So what I really like is, you know, there's no really waste of space. So it's a very clean kind of passageway entering towards the rear of the house. And this natural separation, I think is very important, especially if you have a larger family staying together. You want to be close, not too close, right?
Yes.
So this forms like a natural divide.
And then you also have a family area which you can get together, have a separation of both sides of the rooms for maybe the parents and the child being on the same level.
Yeah, so in fact, for this level, imagine this is an open plate itself. To reconfigure all this will be, you know, just a piece of cake in a sense, because a lot of these walls are actually just party walls. You can really kind of decide how to reorientate depending on your family's needs. Okay? So let's take a look first at the first common bedroom. So towards the rear, we're actually featuring 3 bedrooms, and by no means are these rooms small. All right. So what is truly unique, how they've designed the space, is to encourage, I think, the cohesion between the families. Right. So in the past, there were 3 children occupying these 3 rooms at the rear of the house. And I think this room itself, I think compared to some of the other houses in Bukit Timah, this is by no means a small room itself.
It's a very spacious, squarish layout. And then even the wardrobe space, as you can see, if you use, this is currently a sliding door, but if it's a normal door, there will be at least about 6 panels.
Yeah, I think it's important for, you know, for space provisions, especially for especially the ladies. Definitely you need more
We need
storage
a lot
space.
of wardrobe space.
Like my place, I think I only can occupy 1 panel. The rest are for the ladies, definitely.
Yes.
Right. So what's really interesting is this vantage point. Right. So where we are actually located, in fact, the sites I think we showcased earlier in level 1, both sides are actually detached. But actually towards the rear, we have this very, very good distance apart from the neighbors and the back. So again, this really comes down to good planning, because you occupy only 50% of the floor plate. There's a lot of ways for you to stretch, skew, or even to be creative, right?
That's right.
But what they have done is they have compacted this to give you a more family-oriented feel. That's why everything is within one main building, whereas I think some plans will include certain annexes or a lot of courtyards in between.
Yes. So later, Sean will share with you more of how you can, you know, redevelop this place, changing the configurations of the room, be it A&A or recon, or even rebuilt.
Yes, so this house presents many opportunities to suit really to the viewers. I mean, if you're looking in the market to upgrade or even to resize to something smaller from your existing larger homes, this floor plate actually presents a very good opportunity. All right, so we've covered the first room. Anyway, this is our ensuite. So on this level, we have three bathrooms. So in the past, you know, we were not so fortunate to have every room ensuite. I cannot imagine the cleaning, you know. For this house, probably you need to have like, 2 or 3 helpers. Yeah, imagine if you have young kids going around, I guess maybe more than two. I think Willie and Nidhi has shared the kind of space separation, the provisions for multiple helpers in fact. Okay.
So the next two rooms is also quite spacious.
Yes,
The
let's start with
next
this
two
one.
rooms, there is.
So you notice the similarities,
Yeah.
right? So again, both are equally sized, but the way that one is wider, whereas one is actually longer in size. So this room second room actually has a Jack and Jill concept to another room
That's
for a slightly smaller one. So even as it is, I think from here you can notice neighbors at the sides, neighbors at the back, the same kind of detailing, right? Lots of space in between. So to really curate the kind of presence, if you are into landscaping and all those, just imagine kind of gardenscaping or trees to kind of really diffuse away from the feel of the house. Because nowadays, we are so used to concrete and steel. Oftentimes we miss the kind of the nature, to invite the nature in from the outdoor space. Okay, so walking through itself, so this will be the Jack and Jill sharing for these two rooms. So as we access the third room on this level, right, this is also by no means, I think those viewers who are upgrading, in fact, from the northeast, right, since I also reside there, this is by no means small, right? This is already sufficient for queen size.
You can easily fit a queen or a king size. In fact, even as for kids, with you can easily fit a single size bed with your study table.
Yeah, so actually, if depends on the family layout. So we have shown you 3 rooms at the rear itself, right? So this whole area actually you can be kind of like coordinate off, right? So you can have multi-purpose as it is already. So this good idea. This will be the children's playroom.
That's right.
Then you have 2 rooms, so they are focused.
Or a study room.
Study room, yes.
Yeah, depending on how many kids they have. In fact, the ceiling height is also not too low.
Yes.
So they can even have bunk beds or even the trundle beds.
I think what would be interesting is to have sleepovers,
yes.
from school. Yeah, so from here towards the rear, we'll show you 3, all right? And
Can you feel the breeze?
yeah, today
It's
is,
really windy.
see, there goes one door.
Yes.
So there again, the benefits, right? Being, regardless of where you're facing or the orientation of the house, you are surrounded, right? So imagine all this. These are the more classical era. So if you take a look over on this side, so in the past, it wasn't so trending for, what we are so used to, like example, the Fascina kind of, fittings and so on and so forth. So from here, actually, imagine if you want more lighting, all these are within cosmetics, right? You can enlarge this. You can even have frosted panels at the bottom to really draw in more lighting space. But what is truly unique for most detached home seekers, I think they are very astute. They will really go towards improving the kind of lifestyle. I think nowadays, lifestyle is often understated. With the kind of right size, with the kind of length, in fact, there's a lot of room to even example. Here would be one example for a position of the lift. I think Willie and Nidhi has shown you on level 1. So already as it is, for 2 levels, if you need to kind of really have a distinction between level 1 for entertainment, level 2 for residents, again, lift access will be much appreciated, especially, with aged parents and, other visitors. Right, so what
Otherwise, if they do not need a lift, this area can become a walkout balcony area also.
Yeah, so you can blend in with the veranda. I think what we really like
That's
about
right.
it is not only existingly they have designed it such that it really strikes out, but just imagine for a moment you have access through to the sides, the envelopes through to the front itself. Truly something very, very charming, right? So for this so-called the small room in the front, actually, in fact, this whole frontage has been carefully kind of divided by the homeowners. They used to work from home even back in the day, and this was actually zoned for the Mrs. Home Office, right? It's just adjacent to the master bedroom. So in fact, these are just partition walls. So this was added on later. I think it's
Just behind us is where the veranda is, so you have a nice view. So in fact, you can actually, since it's, like you say, it's a dry wall, you could actually remove this wall and enlarge the entire master bedroom, which next we're going to show you the master bedroom, and even have a walkout balcony so that you can actually enjoy the view of the veranda.
Yeah, so actually all these elements, you can see how well thought out the existing house layout is, right? Combining with the elements. A lot of these are, you can't really find these features anymore. I think what Marissa was, her first impression when she came out is all the classic and the use of all the good wood, even for the flooring. This has been original, by the way, since they were rebuilt in 1991. So you can look at the immaculate attention to detail.
You just need to polish it and varnish it, and it's all good.
So what I really like about this part is actually for more modernized home layouts will be the front of the house. So for obvious reasons, right? So here you can actually, behind this wall is that small little room. So just imagine for a moment, enlarging this through and through, right? Definitely you can kind of already partition naturally the room into 3 different parts. One will be a walk-in wardrobe to the toilet on the left, where
And you
Marissa
can
is.
enlarge the toilet also.
Yes.
His and her bathroom, it's now, everybody's dream to have a his and her bathroom, with a shower area or maybe even a bathtub. And then you have the vanity, the island vanity top.
Yeah, I think this is the new in thing, right? A lot of the concepts now is not so much so on the enclosed space, but rather, how you want to accentuate the kind of spaciousness by having more things, kind of open concept. So what's really interesting is I like this view a lot, all right? So it departs away from, the classical kind of stereotype, you're very close to the gate. And what really differentiates this is this courtyard, right? This courtyard fronting the veranda itself. So it gives you the sense of space, brings in a lot of, it's just not a static view every time, because every time you look out, depending on the time of the year and everything just feels different. And not to mention the space that you have for all your gardenscaping can really transform it. Not to mention, imagine you have a swimming pool in front.
Yes,
you have
or
kids
even a
over.
pond. You can have a pond in front or a swimming pool. So usually the distance between the windows to the main gate of the house, it's very, very near.
Yes, indeed.
But look at the distance from us to the main gate. And with the veranda, which is so beautiful, I think this is the best place for the master bedroom.
Yeah, totally agree. What is new, in fact, with the newer guidelines from URA, nowadays you are actually allowed to kind of convert certain of these areas to a walkout balcony. That's a much appreciated. Just imagine 2 levels of gardenscaping. Wow, that's
beautiful.
So on the screen right now, I think we have some visualizations. I think what really stands out for this house is the ability to really cater to 3 types of improvements. So as it is 2 stories, minor renovation, this gives you can retain the kind of classic charm, right? Secondly will be some form of A&A to kind of really enlarge already what is a very big platform, right?
And actually, it's not difficult to modernize this place. Changing of the windows, changing of the doors, doing up your cabinetries and the toilets.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for smaller families, in fact, with the number of rooms, very sizable. Or even smaller families, you can consider, example, merging the 3 rooms to the rear to become 2 very enlarged rooms, both en suite. So you have 3 rooms on this level. The bonus really comes, the possibilities are really unlimited once you look upwards.
But if they have a even bigger family for multi-generation, you can do a recon.
Yeah.
So you can add up to 1.5 story more. So Sean, you can share more with them about the recon plans.
So just like the buyer that just came to one of your listings the other day,
Yes.
right? They had multiple, I think more than 8 in the family. It's a very closely knitted family unit. So what they have done, or rather for this house, why they're so keen to actually join us to see this firsthand is because, firstly, it's a 3.5 story zone, right? So given for this area, so without doing too much to really kind of break away from the existing kind of layout, so being in the living area, imagine this extending to another level. And this will be a true full level, right? And that's only 3 levels. So essentially on level 3, I guess, if you can imagine the staircase coming up and we are on level 3 itself, again, we have the same kind of configurations. If you don't need to have so many rooms, perhaps, you can have an enlarged entertainment room.
Yes.
You can still have 2 guest rooms at the back. So that's only for level 3, all right? If you go up another half story, the possibilities are
It can be
really...
an entertainment room or another guest room. Yeah.
So which is why this house really draws in a lot of charm and why we're so excited to really showcase all this. And just by speaking isn't enough. So on the screen, I think throughout the whole presentation, we have showcased a lot of ID concepts, a lot of A&A proposals, recon proposals.
Yes.
And I think that would be hopefully to be able to excite most of the viewers out there who are looking for a detached in District 10. All right. So without further ado, I think Will has been waiting very, very anxiously to really showcase, especially since we have just completed our annual, landed market analysis. So over to Will.
now that we have toured level 1 and level 2 very comprehensively, let's now get back to the beginning of this session where I think, Will, you mentioned that besides all the qualities, right, the pricing is what makes this a very attractive value proposition for a lot of bungalow buyers. Would you like to elaborate why?
Sure. Let's bring you to the recent webinar on our landed webinar 2024 full market report. So I have actually noticed that the overall Singapore has transacted on an average of 2.8% in terms of value, of which D10 has really outperformed the average value based on the 4% value growth by itself. So again, for the benefit of our viewers and the landed owners, I would then dissect this landed detached home into 4 categories. Category 1, small detached home with a land size of less than 6,000. Secondly, the medium-sized one with a land size between the 6 to 8,000
square feet.
And next, the large houses from 8 to 10,000 square feet.
Like this house?
Next, yes, like what we have standing right here. So next is this extra large that include part of the includes our GCB with land size more than 10,000 square feet.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you notice in the difference in the average transacted prices of these 4 categories of bungalows in 2024?
Yeah, let me show you the pricing. So basically, if you can see that a smaller detached home with a land size of 6,000 has transacted at an average of 2,400 PSF.
Okay.
And those medium size has transacted at 2,002, same PSF, same goes to our extra large bungalow or detached at also 2,200.
Makes sense
PSF.
Because they are bigger and generally the larger, then people expect lower PSF. I think that's quite a norm.
Yes, correct. Surprisingly, what actually caught me by surprise is actually land size like what we have right now, 8 to 10,000, has transacted close to 2,600.
2,600. That's a very big difference.
Yes. So
I could imagine the quantum as well, because usually you expect this to be probably lower than 2,002 because they are larger than that. So what are some of the main reasons why?
So first thing first, this is a very prestige land. So for those landed home upgraders, maybe a semi-D owner or maybe a small size detached who are looking for a spacious land where you can literally have a car porch, a good sized garden and additional space, definitely space for your home. This makes it a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
And
so
next,
you're saying that means even detached owners, they want to upgrade, because a lot of them, when they buy the small ones, they really feel, what really defines bungalow living is really land size, land space, like the place that we can do filming and everything that you can see now, the garden. So a lot of them actually think, I want to buy a bigger detached, even though I'm staying in the detached already, right?
Correct,
So
correct.
There's a competition from them. Anything else?
And next, the entire year of 2024, there's only 4 such land size that is being transacted. So make this something which is quite rare. Secondly, based on today's market, we hardly come across houses with this kind of land size. If there's any available, it would definitely entice the developer to come in, because with this kind of land size, you can either subdivide into a pair of semi-D or not a pair of detached.
Yeah, which the smaller bungalow categories or detached categories can't, right? They can only be subdivided into semi-D. So, but sizes like this you can. Okay,
correct.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think with this in mind, compared to the current asking price of this, we're asking slightly above 2,003. Right, per square feet. So that gives you, can you see the buffer, 2003 to almost 2006. The difference is where you can therefore then use this value to really enhance basically the current house. Whether you want to just renovate, A&A, reconstruct, or even to rebuild, right? The 4 options that we have shared with you earlier.
Yes.
So with this now, you take a look at the slides. We've actually compiled also the cost, right? Estimated cost provided by professionals like the IDs and and our architect partners as well. So, and the numbers may surprise you. Let's take a look first at renovation and A&E, right? So you're keeping the structure, you're enhancing, you're shifting basically the layout, you're adding, changing the bathrooms to the other side, and even adding a balcony upstairs, all right? So enhancing the overall so-called space and basically giving it a new look altogether, right? The estimated cost, all right, is less than 700,000 or 698,000. So you add this to the asking price now. Basically, you're paying slightly above $20 million, but more importantly, the PSF, you're paying only slightly above $2,400 per square feet. Again, under 2006. Let's go to a higher option, which is if you want to add one more floor, right, to do reconstruction, adding the lift, adding a new top floor with either 2 rooms or 3 rooms, new bathrooms, and of course, the overall enhancement of place with a pool, etc. The cost is going to add up to about 2.1 million due to the high construction cost now, right? 2.1 million. However, if you add this to the overall price, this is still under $22 million, which is also at only under $2,000, under $2,600 per square feet, so to speak, all right? So it's actually quite attractive. And in a sense, to a lot of buyers. So next, even if you want to rebuild, let's go to the most extreme option now, which is if you want to rebuild to the majestic, very stunning house that you saw, okay, 3.5 story, you have this 1,800 square feet pool, at the car park, you can park 8 cars, etc. Just look at the visuals. Every time we look at it, I think almost salivate, to be honest. You might be really tempted to redo. And you have the budget, and when you say that is $5 million, right, based on today's construction costs. Add that into the asking price, you're basically paying actually still under $3,000, like $2,900 per square feet. With that, actually, this is just about the price, similar to what was transacted last year. And that was not even a brand new house. So for this, you get an entirely brand new, from the ground up, brand new house that can last you for decades. So you can see now very evidently whichever one of the 4 options, depending on your needs, right, that all this so-called total cost will still give you a very good value compared to what the market has already shown and proven to be prepared to pay. And that was based on last year, right? God only knows what will happen this year and where we expect price to rise further, right? So I hope you're now convinced with, I think, not just the qualitative part of the home tour, but also some of the financial analysis of this, and be convinced that really, if you're a bungalow seeker, you must really take a look at this house. Okay, before we conclude today's session with Sean and Marissa, who is joining us soon, let's just do another quick recap of this very beautiful veranda at Bukit Timah. With this comprehensive house tour, redevelopment options, and detailed analysis, we hope you viewers have now better understood why we have specially chosen this veranda at Bukit Timah to be the first house to feature in this coming Lunar New Year.
Yes, and this house has charmed us in more ways than one. Just to name a few, location is super important in District 10, right? Not to mention also the land size, something that's above 8,000 square feet is indeed very hard to come by. Just to name additional things that will appeal to the homeowners will be, example, like the proximity to good schools, right? How about other factors, Neil?
Yes, absolutely. This house has charmed us in a lot of ways. The personal, soft aesthetic touches, the lush greenery that surrounds the property, the grand yet cozy ambience, to name a few. And this will definitely evoke your senses when you live here.
So to experience what we are feeling right now, you simply have to just come by and have a look. And you can either contact either 5 of us or your preferred HLD consultants for exclusive viewing.
Until then, I'm Will.
I'm Nadi.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Willie. On behalf of HLD, we wish you a happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year ahead. See you at the next episode of Huttons Landed Division's
Live Open House.